Moto dork. It's a little bit cloudy this morning. Only a 10% chance of rain, but you never know. I mean, the weather report yesterday said by the middle of the day it was supposed to be overcast, and it was sunny and clear until sunset, and then it was clear all night. So I mean, the Weather Channel app uses Watson, but Watson was a little wrong in this case. But it is a pretty sunrise and a pretty morning. How are you guys doing today? I'm just on my way to work. Looking forward to my first 3 cups of coffee this morning. Yeah. And we use one of those Keurigs, you know, the K-Cup coffee brewer. I've used those before, but sparingly. I would say before I got this job, I may have had 4 cups of coffee from one of those things in my life. I really prefer grinding my own coffee and brewing my own coffee in a normal classic style coffee maker. I really do. And thanks to a person who can only be referred to as my absolute best friend, I'm slowly becoming a coffee snob. I'm not quite the snob that he is. He's an ultimate snob. It's my friend Kevin. But I am becoming somewhat of a snob. I bought a burr grinder, a hand-operated burr grinder with ceramic burrs in it. It came with a second glass container to store the freshly ground coffee. And then I purchased a pour-over coffee maker. I don't even know what you're supposed to call it, but you know, it makes coffee. So it's just basically a glass carafe with a tall cylindrical top. And it came with a stainless steel filter with multiple layers of both perforated steel and wire mesh. You know, it's supposed to act like its own filter, and it looks like it would do a good job. But I bought conical shaped number 2 paper filters to put in it, because I've used those kinds of filters before, and using those filters, yeah, it filters out the big grounds, but there's always a layer of silt at the bottom of my coffee cup, and I don't like that. So I also put a number 2 conical paper filter in there as a secondary filtration method, and it works beautifully. I got no silt at the bottom of my coffee, none whatsoever. And you know, I have to admit, there is something about the smell of freshly ground coffee beans. There just is. And I've always loved the smell of coffee since I was a kid. But my dad, my mom never drank coffee. My dad drinks coffee. And you know, he would just buy, you know, pre-ground coffee grounds like most other people do. Make his coffee that way. But oh my God, there's the smell of freshly ground coffee beans is just something else. You know, grind them, brew them, delicious coffee. And something else, since I've been doing keto, from time to time I've been using heavy whipping cream because I'm not a black coffee drinker. I can drink it in a pinch, but I'm not a black coffee drinker. I like cream in my coffee. You know, if that makes me a horrible person, sorry. It's okay if you think that. It's perfectly fine if you think that. I just don't. And I've been trying to figure out what it is that I love so much about it, and why. And I think the reason why is because I remember way back when I was a little kid, and I'm really going on a tangent here. I remember way back when I was a kid, my grandma drinking a cup of coffee, seeing her drink a cup of coffee, and I looked in the cup, and it didn't look like coffee. It didn't look like the coffee my dad drank, because it wasn't dark brown like his. It was whitish and creamy looking. And I asked her, I said, why does your coffee look like this? She said, well, I put creamer in my coffee. And I thought, well, that sounds delicious. I want to try that. But I was just a little kid. My parents wouldn't let me drink coffee when I was a little kid. So, you know, I think that might be what started it for me. So yeah, so lately I've been making my coffee that way. I'm enjoying it. The only thing about it is grinding the coffee by hand. It's a little bit of a drawn out process. And the little glass jar that the grinder screws onto, it's not the most comfortable thing to hold on to while grinding the coffee, because it's kind of small and not very stable. So when it's sitting on a table and you're holding it and pushing down against it and grinding, it's just uncomfortable. I know, first world problems. I actually have nothing to complain about, but I am anyway. You know, why not? What else am I going to do? And something else, the Keurig coffee maker we have at the office, you know, we have 3 different boxes of K-Cups. We've got just a classic roast. We've got green tea, and we've got another kind, the nut kind. I suddenly can't remember what it's called. You know what I'm talking about. The kind, it smells incredibly good, but doesn't quite taste the way it smells. I'll remember it in a few minutes. And some of you probably already know what I'm talking about. But, because it's something that doesn't taste the way it smells, years and years ago I tried it and wasn't really happy with how it tasted and didn't do it again. But now I've I have since, since using this Keurig, I have fallen in love with it, and it's all I drink now. I can't remember the name of it. I had the word nut in my head, and I had the word Amarillo in my head, and I'm pretty sure that has nothing to do with this coffee. I'll get to the office and look at it and think, oh, of course, that's what it's called. Because like I said, I drink it every morning. But now I've just suddenly forgotten what it's called. Hazelnut. 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 Look, this is what happens when one gets old. This is just what happens. Part of life. Anyway, I think I'm done talking. Hey, subscribe if you want to, and you can hear all kinds of amazing conversations like this that no doubt are sorely missing from your life. I don't know how you could have started your morning without this, to be honest. If I'm being honest. So, subscribe and hit that little bell thingy. Smash the bell. Let the kids say.